The fluorescent lights of Megamart cast their harsh glow over the checkout lanes as 26-year-old Jessica Parker stood in the customer service line, holding her 8-month-old daughter Lily in one arm and a can of baby formula in the other. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and her gray coat showed the wear of someone who couldn't afford to replace things simply because they looked tired. Jessica's hands trembled slightly as she approached the counter, not from cold, but from the embarrassment of what she was about to do. The formula cost $28, money she had counted and recounted from her tip jar at the diner where she worked the night shift. But when she got home and checked her account balance, she realized that paying for the formula would leave her $3 short for the electric bill that was already overdue. Behind her in line, 34-year-old Andrew Sterling pretended to check his phone while actually observing the interaction unfolding at the customer service desk. As Chief Financial Officer of Sterling Dynamics, a technology consulting firm worth over $40 million, Andrew was accustomed to analyzing situations quickly and understanding the financial pressures that drove people's decisions. Andrew had come to Megamart late in the evening to buy groceries for his empty apartment, a task he usually delegated to his assistant, but had decided to handle himself tonight out of a vague sense that he should be more connected to ordinary life. His 3-year-old daughter Emma was staying with his ex-wife this week, as per their custody arrangement, leaving him with the familiar loneliness that had become his constant companion since their divorce. "I need to return this," Jessica said quietly to the customer service representative, placing the unopened can of formula on the counter. "I bought it an hour ago, and I have the receipt." The representative, a tired-looking woman in her 50s, examined the receipt and the product. "Any particular reason for the return?" Jessica's cheeks flushed red. I changed my mind about the brand," she lied, unable to admit the truth about her financial situation in front of the other customers. Andrew watched as Jessica's baby began to fuss, and he noticed the practiced way she bounced Lily gently while handling the return transaction. There was something in Jessica's careful movements and quiet dignity that suggested she was handling more than just a simple product return. "The refund will go back to your debit card in 3 to 5 business days," the representative said. 3 to 5 days? Jessica asked, her voice carrying a note of panic she tried to suppress. "Isn't there any way to get cash back tonight?" "Store policy requires returns to go back to the original payment method," the representative replied with the inflexibility of someone who had repeated the same policy hundreds of times. Andrew saw Jessica's shoulders sag slightly as she processed this information. 3 to 5 days meant her baby would go without formula until the refund cleared, something no mother should have to face. Without fully thinking through his actions, Andrew stepped forward. "Excuse me," he said gently to Jessica. "I couldn't help but overhear. Are you planning to buy a different brand of formula?" Jessica looked at him with surprise and wariness. "Yes, I was thinking about trying a different type. I have a 3-year-old daughter," Andrew continued, "and when she was a baby, we went through several different formulas before finding one that worked well for her. If you're open to a suggestion, I've heard excellent things about the organic formula they carry here." Jessica looked confused by this stranger's interest in her baby's nutrition, but Andrew continued before she could respond. "In fact, I was about to buy some for my friend's baby shower gift. Would you mind helping me pick out the right type? I'm a bit lost when it comes to infant nutrition these days." Andrew's approach was carefully crafted to preserve Jessica's dignity while offering help. He led her back toward the baby aisle, still carrying the conversation about formula brands as if he genuinely needed her expertise. "How old is your daughter?" Andrew asked as they walked. 8 months, Jessica replied, still uncertain about this stranger's motives but finding his manner reassuring rather than threatening. "That's a wonderful age. Emma was so curious about everything when she was 8 months old." Andrew paused in front of the formula display. "What brand were you thinking of trying?" Jessica pointed to one of the less expensive options, and Andrew nodded thoughtfully. "Actually, I've been reading about the benefits of organic formula for developing immune systems," he said, reaching for a significantly more expensive can. "Would you mind if I bought this brand for you to try? Consider it a favor to me, since you're helping me understand what to look for in baby nutrition." Jessica stared at him. Sir, I can't let you buy formula for my baby. I don't even know your name. Andrew, he said, extending his hand. Andrew Sterling. And you are? Jessica Parker. And Mr. Sterling? This is very kind, but I can't accept charity from a stranger. It's not charity, Andrew replied gently. It's an exchange. You're giving me advice about baby products, and I'm providing you with a sample to try. Think of it as market research. Andrew's tone was so matter-of-fact and respectful that Jessica found her resistance weakening. More than that, Lily was starting to show signs of hunger, and Jessica knew she couldn't wait 3 to 5 days for the refund to clear. Why would you help someone you don't know? Jessica asked quietly. Andrew looked at Lily, who was reaching for Jessica's hair with the grabby enthusiasm of a healthy 8-month-old. Because I know what it's like to worry about whether you're providing everything your child needs, he said honestly. And because sometimes we all need help, even when we're too proud to ask for it. At the checkout lane, Andrew purchased not just the organic formula, but also several jars of baby food, a package of diapers, and a few other infant supplies, explaining that his friend had mentioned needing these items for her baby shower. Jessica watched this transaction with growing amazement and gratitude, but also with the uncomfortable awareness that she was accepting significant help from a complete stranger. Mr. Sterling, she said as they walked toward the parking lot, I don't know how to thank you properly for this. Just take good care of that beautiful daughter, Andrew replied. And maybe, if you don't mind my asking, could you tell me if the formula works well for her? I really might need recommendations for future gift-giving. Jessica looked at this well-dressed man who had spent over $60 on baby supplies for a stranger and realized that beneath his carefully constructed explanation about market research and gift-giving, he had simply seen a mother in need and chosen to help. Would you like to have coffee sometime? She heard herself ask. I mean, so I can properly report back about the formula and baby food? Andrew's face lit up with a smile that transformed his entire appearance. I would like that very much. 2 weeks later, Andrew and Jessica met at a small cafe near the diner where Jessica worked. She brought Lily, who had indeed thrived on the organic formula, and Andrew brought photos of Emma to share stories about the challenges and joys of single parenthood. Over coffee and shared experiences, they discovered that their different circumstances had led to remarkably similar insights about what mattered most in life. Andrew had money but struggled with loneliness, and the feeling that his success meant little without people to share it with. Jessica had love and purpose but worried constantly about providing security and opportunities for her daughter. You know, Jessica said as Lily played contentedly in her high chair, that night at Megamart was one of the lowest points I've had since becoming a single mother. I felt like I was failing at the most basic requirement of parenthood. What happened to change that feeling? Andrew asked. You showed me that accepting help doesn't mean failing. It means being part of a community where people look out for each other. Andrew was quiet for a moment, watching Lily explore the texture of a soft toy he had brought for her. I've been thinking about that night too, he said. I realized that for all my financial success, I hadn't been contributing anything meaningful to the world around me. Helping you and Lily reminded me what it feels like to make a real difference in someone's life. 6 months later, Andrew and Jessica were married in a small ceremony attended by Emma, Lily, and a few close friends they had made together. The wedding was held not in an expensive venue, but in the community center where Jessica had started volunteering to help other single mothers navigate resources and support systems. Andrew had established a foundation that provided emergency assistance to families facing temporary financial crises, with Jessica serving as the program director. Her experience with the challenges of single motherhood, combined with Andrew's business acumen and resources, created a program that helped hundreds of families avoid the kind of crisis that had brought them together. Emma and Lily became sisters in every way that mattered, with Emma proudly teaching Lily new words and Lily following her big sister. With the devoted admiration that only younger siblings can show, the Megamart where they had first met became a place they visited regularly. Not out of necessity, but out of gratitude for the reminder that the most important transactions in life aren't financial, but human. Andrew kept the original receipt from that night's shopping trip in his wallet. Not as a memento, but as a reminder that the best investments aren't measured in returns but in relationships. And that sometimes the most valuable thing you can purchase is the opportunity to help someone else when they need it most. Jessica's tip jar at the diner was replaced by a business card holder on her desk at the foundation. But she never forgot the feeling of counting dollars and cents to buy formula for her baby, because it reminded her daily why their work mattered so much to the families they served. The formula that Jessica had tried to return had been intended to nourish Lily's body, but Andrew's kindness that night had nourished something deeper in both of them. The understanding that we're all connected by our shared needs and our capacity to help each other meet them. Sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin in the most ordinary places, when someone chooses to see beyond their own circumstances to recognize another person's struggle and respond with generosity, that expects nothing in return except the knowledge that a child will be fed and a parent will sleep better that night. If this story reminded you that small acts of generosity can create connections that transform multiple lives, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need encouragement about the power of helping others in their moments of need. Subscribe for more stories about how opening our hearts to strangers often opens doors to our own happiness and fulfillment. And please comment below about a time when someone helped you when you were struggling, or when helping someone else led to something meaningful in your own life. Your story might inspire someone else to reach out with kindness today.